Did I forget? I forgot the intro again, didn't I? Are we live?
It looks
I
like
can't
we
tell if
might
we're
be
live.
live already.
Hold on.
Try to do the
I'll
intro
play the intro
anyway.
and then we'll do the joke.
I think the
Yeah,
joke's
we'll do
already
the intro
on
and then we'll
us.
do the joke. Which intro?
Welcome everybody to Rad Pod and Chill, where I have clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, and I'm stuck in the middle with Jim Stewartson and High Fidelity, who are being quite silly tonight, but I
Alex Jones in
co-sign.
9/11. Oh, what? I don't know.
I co-sign on their silliness. Hey Jim, how's it going, man?
Sorry. I had to
I hate
tell you.
boomers. I
I hate
hate boomers.
Oh my God, this is just such a heartwarming beginning
George
to
Bush does
our.
not like boomers. What? Oh.
Okay, so gentlemen, there's some stuff that I cannot wait to talk to you about. But I'm going to finish painting my nails while you guys get it started. Okay.
I lost all the oxygen because I had a mask on, so I couldn't breathe.
I got sweaty under my hood and got sweat on my glasses, so now I have to
Okay, then
put it in.
I'm gonna have to start because nobody wants
It
to hear
was
about
hot.
your hoodie sweat.
Hoodie sweat.
Um, So we're going to be
Woo.
talking about episode 51 with the brilliant and brave Peter Tatchell. I'm so excited to do a bit of a recap on that. I've been writing about it all week on my Betty Dangerous Substack. And I'm also really excited to get everybody prepped for episode 52. You have homework to do before episode 52. Y'all have to listen to Jack Bryan's and Marley's new podcast on Wesley Clark Jr., American PSYOP, part of a
Yes.
Hollywood Babylon series. I binged all 4 episodes, and I need to start with a very important point. Wesley Clark Jr., a filmmaker, activist, son of General Wesley Clark. General Wesley Clark was very influential on me, and I'll dig up a blog that I wrote about him in like 2013 or 2014. He did a lecture where he talked about how America has to stop lurching from crises to crises and really get focused and get prepared and proactive. But he was the first person who ever talked in depth about cyber war. And I remember just like really trying to wrap my head around what that would look like. But he prepared me like almost a decade ago for what we are battling right now. And I want to say thank you. And the other thing I need to say is right after Trump won, when Wesley Clark Jr. was on his way to Standing Rock, his dad said, America is going to become just like Russia. Do not go. Get a job, support your family. Anybody who sticks their head out is going to get smacked. And that is exactly what we have been living through. And listening to the show and hearing that from 2016, somebody with experience saying, we're going to become like Russia. Anyone who steps out of line, they're going to target. So keep your head down. And it's like, of course, his son didn't listen to it, nor did we. And here we are 6 years later, battling for the soul of democracy. So that's my intro. Take it away, gentlemen, so I can paint my other hand.
Boomer, boomer, boomy boomer, boomy boomer.
Oh no, I got a cough. Damn it.
Jim, you start, Jim. You start, Jim.
That's not fair. We we should ask Jack if Wesley will come on the show. I think that'd be cool.
Yeah,
I think
well,
Wesley. I think we and Wesley have some things in common.
So
unfortunately, I don't think we do.
met Wes Clark Jr. I don't know 4 or 5 times. Spent a lot of time with him. I mean, they were long conversations with other people. Very, very smart guy. just like his father. Wesley Clark Sr. was head of NATO.
Yeah, right.
And a presidential candidate.
Yep.
That is not a job for a stupid man. Well, the second one is, but not the first one.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yes, you don't get to be commanding general of fucking NATO. Or I don't even know what the title is, but it's Imperial fucking Wizard or whatever the hell it's called.
He's the badass who set things right. In Bosnia.
Yeah, Big Willie.
Yes.
Big Willie.
Yeah.
He was a Big Willie.
Yeah. And his son is also really, really smart. And also a very incredibly empathetic, very generous, probably too generous person who put himself out there to try and help people. And yeah, I mean, there are two words for it: psyoped or mind fucked. Either way, and he'll be the first to tell you that. But this series is basically the produced version of the conversations that I had with him, along with Jack and Marley and others. And his story is beyond believable.
So important.
It's crazy. It's so important, but it's also just banana balls. Like what went on at Standing Rock.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Was nuts. It was Eric, and by the way, Eric Prince's people went and infiltrated those groups and tore them up from the inside out. Which is something I'm actually quite familiar with, because similar groups of people did the same thing to me. So and there's some crossover.
Yeah, I know. That was unfortunately my experience too.
So it's an interesting story in lots and lots of ways, and you should totally see it. And HiFi, don't die or whatever it is happening over there. It's deeply concerning, honestly.
I'm getting my butt kicked by this beady. That's what. No, did.
Take a breath. Take a breath.
Okay. LinkedIn, right? Do you remember my LinkedIn story, Jim?
I do.
Yes. You tell it every 3 days or so.
No. Let's hear it. It's been a few months.
Which one? I will say, out of all the catfish that came at me on LinkedIn, the one from the UAE was the most attractive. The one from China was too ephemeral, weird. Europe was just kind of meh.
I like how he's rating.
Are you doing like Tinder on your cat?
But anyway, let me get to the point. Let me get to the point. No, these are all the countries that catfish me on LinkedIn. It was weird.
Get to the
point.
Anyway.
Content warning.
I got catfished by an account that was using a Seattle podcast host face, but the video production company that was tied to the I Am cult.
Oh, yes. That factors into his story. Yeah.
And it's so weird. I don't know. Maybe it's not weird. Maybe this is what these people do.
It is weird. And here's the thing that I would love to discuss when we have Jack on. And I'd love to discuss with Wesley at some point as well, because it's very important. So, yeah, we know some of the same people.
I want to talk about what happens when we jack off, but I'm sorry.
Okay. What? That is a violation. That is a violation of RadPod's rules.
I had to.
One rule.
I had to just for HiFi. It was just for HiFi. I apologize.
Oh my God. Well, I gotta say, can we please cut that in post?
Yes, we're cutting that in post.
No, listen, seriously, you dummies.
What?
What's the worst word I could say? Dummies.
Dummies.
Like I'm 4 years old.
Ooh.
No. What I want to say is I'm in
LA.
You're so nice.
I am nice. I'm in LA. I'm in Hollywood. I write screenplays. I was doing the whole circuit of having meetings, and I was in meetings where I was looking at a executive of a company who I knew to be a recently released pimp from a different country, because I'm also an investigative reporter. We locked eyes. He knew, I knew, and we still discussed the project. Wesley has a lot of those types of interactions, and when, as you guys say, when some of these worlds kind of intersect, if there was sort of like a concentric circle, it is a bit chilling. And unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, but it certainly makes me look back at the moments and the people and wonder, who's an op, who's not an op, and who got psychologically manipulated.
You can pretty much just see, like a lot of the people, if you were wondering if they were an op, and they're still on Twitter. Because what's been honestly kind of heartwarming for me is watching all the controlled opposition try to figure out what the fuck to do with their lives.
I know, because they're not getting
because they really have no idea. They're like, I'm so lost without my Twitter. Everybody's like me now. It's just
Yeah. I don't think that we should let them off the hook. I do think there's a future. Oh, hey, HiFi, there is some really good news legislation-wise. Is that what you're trying to talk about? Because we have some very good news regarding legislation and online operations. If you are actually working and not disclosing what you're working for, you're going to be in violation of the law. Is that right, HiFi?
Yeah, but that's not what I was going to talk about. No, that the FEC is tightening up some rules on online political paid advertising, and it's not just for parties like companies.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
This means individuals too. So
paid
political work online.
Yeah. In other words, if you are terrorizing a candidate with your bullshittery and creating lies about said candidate, for example, and you're actually getting paid by a campaign, that will be in violation of the law. So some
that's
people
absolutely
that's
not
necessary
relevant at all to anything in our lives.
That's necessary, actually. Because these folks out there who are so talented at their meme warfare could be putting it to better use, like defending Ukraine. What else? There's a lot of things that people can do with their meme talents.
The issue is, right, that they after they cross over a certain line, they actually can't do stuff that cares about other people. They don't they don't have that capacity anymore, right? Like
the empathy is dead.
But
they become like automatons, and it's very.
You can get it back. You can
get
it back. It takes a long time. It took me about 8-9 years.
Well, Jim.
Yeah, but you didn't go around. I mean, you were a troll.
No, I wasn't on the like neo-Nazi.
You were fighting Nazis. Come on, HiFi.
Yeah, I don't like. I mean, I grew up punched Nazis. That's what we learned as a kid, right?
And that was all that was on your resume when we made this show. It was like he sent his resume, he punched Nazis, and there we went. No, I'm just kidding. Jim.
Well, I mean, labor solidarity is something I grew up with as family who worked in factories, and I was around factories growing up. I mean, it's Ohio, it's the Rust Belt,
right.
So labor solidarity, it doesn't matter, and you understand that the racism is something that management uses to break the factory, right?
We understand that. So gentlemen, as somebody who is celebrating, if I don't drink by midnight tonight, 20 years without alcohol, which I will not be drinking, obviously, because I love being sober. I have always looked at so much of what we deal with through that through that addictive lens and the just the isms. And I do predict a future, and maybe that's part of what we can help with in the future, where there will be some sort of 12-step program for trolls, for those who created all these online harms. Because I do think that at some point, maybe some of them will have like a really low bottom and they'll realize that they have not been able to tell their wife or their kid or anything what they do. And maybe their kid will find out. And what are you going to do? Say, yeah, I terrorize people online for Bitcoin. Like that's pretty low. That's probably as low as you can go in, some, I would say that's pretty low. So I do think that there is redemption for those who seek it. Unfortunately, they have to want to have that empathy back. They have to want to have a sense of decency and dignity back. Because when you actually hurt people doing the work of democracy for a living, that is not a life. And that for me is a pretty low bottom. So welcome to my TED Talk.
Well done.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
I have an anniversary today too, actually.
Oh no.
Today is 6,338 days since I broke my spine.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many days off opiates? Because I know that that was something that that you had to deal with in pain management.
Yeah. When was that? Wow, that was December of 2019.
Wow. Amazing.
So
Well done, you. A long time.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well done, you. I thought you were going to say you had an anniversary and it was like you haven't smoked weed in 35 seconds.
Back to zero.
My anniversary. This is my 850th day doing this dumb shit. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's
important. I'm 22 days behind you.
It's important. I was really thinking.
I'm at 828.
If Wesley Clark had been my father, and Wesley Clark had said to me right after Trump won, General Wesley Clark, America is going to become like Russia. Anyone who goes against them, they're going to come down on, keep your head down. And I understand he said that because he loves his son, of course. I don't know that I would have done anything different because unfortunately I talk about this a lot. This is serious. So trigger warning. I lost my dad twice, once to the propaganda of Fox News and active measures, and the other in real life when he passed away. And, some of our fights were about me going to the Women's March, not understanding why I was so anti-Trump. I used to try to explain it to him, but, he was of the generation on Facebook with a lot of friends who my dad had been a bleeding heart liberal his whole life, and that is what is so hurtful about it. But I feel him with me in this fight now.
It sucks, man. I was talking about this earlier. The level of trauma that exists in this country, from people's relationships being destroyed. I mean, it is, I think, one of the most reported and under talked about issues there is, right? Because you've got tens of millions of people who have been brainwashed. Let's just put it out there, who are under undue influence, and connected to them are most people. Most people in the country know somebody directly who's been affected by these fucking cults, right? QAnon and others. That person, it's almost worse than them being killed, right? Because they're there, you can see them. They kind of act like them, but they're basically a zombie that's been taken over. It's fucking invasion of the body snatchers.
Well,
right?
and that's the point, right? That's the point. That's the
It
point.
is the point. It is the point.
Yeah.
And because they're in a cult, the whole point of them is to make you as repugnant to them as possible, unless you're willing to cross over the line into into their world. And that reservoir of trauma and pain, I think, is one of the I think it's two things. One has to be addressed because it's causing so much harm, but I think it can also be, honestly, it can be leveraged. All of those people are hurting, and all of those people want their loved one back.
Right.
And so marshaling people who are sick and tired of having their loved one stolen from them is something that I'm going to try and do.
I'm so glad, Jim. I'm so glad. I'm all in to help in any way I can. And I was thinking, we were talking earlier about this. Do you remember report after report after report from children who had lost their moms to QAnon, and then their moms refused to believe in science, and then their moms died of COVID? Story after story after story. And as Ruth Ben-Ghiat told me, I'm not memory holing any of this. This is all fresh in my memory, and I'm going to continually report on this, and I'm going to continually hold those who cause these harms to account. And that is what really makes me glad to get up every day, because I know we can fight.
Hold on, no, this is mine. This one's mine.
Okay.
I just want the people who did this. I want the people who did this, and I know there are some of you out there watching right now. I want the people who did this to remember that when those children learn what you did to their families, they're going to make me look like a puppy dog. You remember that.
You try so hard to be intimidating, bro, but it doesn't work, man. You're just such a teddy bear.
I'm a sweetheart.
I love our HiFi. I love HiFi. I do. I do.
Oh, I'm gonna.
No, he's right though.
But of course
he's right.
Of course he's 100% right. And look, I mean, here's the reality. If it weren't for these fucking cults and this propaganda, not to mention, the guy in the White House who was supporting it.
Yeah.
But if there weren't tens of millions of people who are in a fucking cult that was telling them that the vaccine was going to implant 5G nanobots that were going to turn them into LGBT people, or some crazy shit,
whatever they made up,
we wouldn't have 1 million dead Americans.
That's right. That's absolutely
and we wouldn't
right.
have all this insane, crazy shit happening in grocery stores where, people are flipping out because, somebody's wearing a mask on or asked them to wear a mask or whatever. I mean, imagine the logical short circuit that has to have been made in that person's brain in order for them to, completely lose it because somebody else is trying to take care of themselves.
Right. So we have a mission, should we choose to accept it. Our mission is, and our friends who are watching also are pro-democracy activists, our mission is to fight for America to have a shared reality again. All this stuff that we're talking about, we learned with Peter Tatchell, the wonderful, beautiful Peter Tatchell, episode 51. Please watch episode 51 of RadPod. Learn about what it's like to be a true warrior for human rights. We learned from Peter Tatchell that there is a malevolent political agenda. And those promoting the malevolent political agenda don't even necessarily believe it. They may not really be anti-trans. They may not really be anti-LGBTQ. They may not really be anti-Semitic. They may not really be anti-Muslim, but they are trying to obtain power by any means necessary. They are trying to take advantage of those who might not be educated against bigotry. And so that malevolent political agenda, stop saying, why do they believe it? Or stop defending it and understand that what they're trying to do is gain power. And what is happening on Twitter is they are trying to destroy our shared reality of truth. So I'm going to tell you right here, that is my war, our war, and that is what I'm fighting for real.
So one, oh, were you gonna? Sorry, HiFi. I don't want to. You get mad.
It's just somebody.
You were gonna say something.
It's okay. It's okay. Somebody in chat said now Elon Musk is going to do chip implants with Neuralink. Okay, look. This guy builds Teslas that kill a certain percentage of their users. You're going to put his silicon in your head?
No, it's just something for us to talk about.
Look.
No, stop
it. Okay.
Yes.
I have a very important message for our viewers and our listeners. Under no fucking circumstance. Let me make sure I say this really clearly. Under no fucking circumstances should you put Elon Elmo motherfucking Musk's implant in your goddamn brain. If you do that, you deserve everything you get. Don't even fucking think about it. He's gonna just pipe like Hitler speeches into your brain or some shit. Seriously, don't.
Can I just remind everyone of the Cybertruck? Remember the Cybertruck unveiling where they threw the steel ball at the window and it like shattered the window? Imagine that, but in your skull.
Okay, so back up a second. I walked into a Tesla store one time and I asked how many pounds of data mining comes with every purchase. And the clerk didn't know. So it's the same thing. It's like,
just consider all of it to be mined.
Yeah.
They're going to know when you run out for ice cream at 3 a.m. They're going to know.
They already do because you bring your phone. So.
Look, it's killed like 80% of the monkeys that they put it in. Like it's really bad shit. And he's on Twitter to his 120 million followers. He's like, oh, it'll probably be ready in the next 6 months.
I'm hoping that he'll be seriously.
And then he goes and he replies to anti-Semitic rapper Ye after Ye just gets off of Alex Jones' show praising Hitler for a fucking hour.
Yeah.
Like that's the CEO of Twitter. Get the fuck off. You don't have to delete your account because keep just in case, who knows what's going to happen, whatever. But if you're going to be there, just understand, really, you are in enemy territory. You are being psyoped. Mm-hmm. You are actively being psyoped by a fucking billionaire who wants to destroy American democracy, who is allied with Vladimir Putin, and is pushing Nazis into the global conversation. He's successfully, in 1 month, moved the Overton window to Nazis on the right. So for fuck's sake, if you're going to stay on Twitter, know what you're doing. Right. Because it's not a place for the weak of heart, and everything you do and say is going to be mined. And at any point, for anything Elmo has in any little hair he gets up his butt, for any reason, you can go, and no amount of appealing is going to mean shit. Thank you for coming. My TED Talk, I am now complete.
So I have a brief little interlude before HiFi, whatever's on your mind. I wrote on in Betty Dangerous tonight, my Substack, I wrote defend reality, even if it feels impolite. And why I wrote that is that Ruth Ben-Ghiat, episode 49, 48, brilliant episode, talk to us about how we're being encouraged to memory hole the insurrection, how memory repression and self-censorship, self-imposed censorship becomes part of the beginnings of autocracy. So I have found very smart people, they don't want to talk about what we are talking about right now. It's a bit impolite to talk about these things. Well, guess what that tells me? We must increase the volume. And like Ruth said, we can do it calmly. We can just say it as it is. But I think it's our duty to continually not be silenced and also understand, like we talked about earlier, yes, we're in trauma. We are being deluged daily with people who have millions of followers from whatever their reality TV or entertainment background is, who are manipulating people. And some of it is to make us recoil in horror and feel like we're, scared and isolated and we're not able to have these conversations. Well, I encourage people, you're going to see family around the holidays, get your game face on and go in, keep calm, do a lot of listening so you know where people are getting their information from, but stand firmly rooted in reality and don't be ashamed, even if it feels impolite. TED Talk 2.
I'm going to tell a little story.
Okay.
And this is when I lived down in New Orleans, and there were street kids, right? And the street kids had a tactic at any place that had like a tip jar on the counter, or people left tips on tables, or anything like that. Street kids would go in, and a couple of them would start a commotion. They'd start yelling or causing noise or blah blah blah, whatever. They'd be drawing attention to themselves. And while those street kids did that, the other street kids would run around and grab money, purses, tip jar, whatever they could, and jet.
Yeah.
What we are dealing with regards to Kanye and all this other bullshit is trying to distract us from the fact that Stuart Rhodes got convicted of seditious fucking conspiracy.
Yes.
And the Trump trial is coming to a close, and things are not looking good. His defense basically said Trump didn't know.
Yes.
Look, if you think at this point that Trump didn't know what was going on with hundreds and millions of dollars, you're an idiot. Anyway,
I mean, there are other things to celebrate. Joel Greenberg got 11
Greenberg.
Joel Greenberg. Yes. Happy Joel Greenberg sentencing day to those who celebrate.
So he stole
12-1 every year.
He stole a lot of money. So I think that getting 11 years shows that he did have something to offer in return. And I'm hoping that what he offered in return may have something to do with, one elected in particular, and perhaps.
You mean enormous forehead, fucking neo-Nazi dipshit Matt Gaetz?
Rapey forehead. Say it. Rapey forehead.
Matt Gaetz.
The fucking ding dong who took Chuck Johnson to the goddamn State of the Union. You mean that asshat?
There's a great line in the court papers. It's one line, and I love to read all the court documents, and that one line basically says that he was cooperating about certain and so
27.
A girl can dream, right?
Well, look, I've been talking to my friend and partner Osin Ninja Gal Suburban about this, and it's tough because the only direct evidence that they have is indirect Venmo, but it wasn't directly to her. But on the other hand, apparently Joel Greenberg, I spy with my little eye the actual event taking place. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So Joel Greenberg is now a convicted felon So
Mhm.
that means Joel Greenberg's eyewitness testimony of the
Mhm.
event of the
So,
forehead and the underage child.
so I'm sorry to laugh at that particular line, but I just want to, as a veteran journalist, say allegedly these
I'm
issues
just saying
are.
what he said. He said. I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
I didn't see it,
yeah, yeah.
but apparently Joel Greenberg. Apparently there were more than two people in the room,
Mhm.
like maybe a lot more.
It's just I do look forward to him going the way of Madison Cawthorn and just becoming completely irrelevant and
Oh, no, not just irrelevance. That boy needs to be in a cage. I'm sorry.
all right.
Oh yeah,
HiFi has
that is
spoken.
one of the worst pieces of shit on planet Earth.
HiFi has
That
spoken.
remember when he showed up on the floor of the house with a fucking gas mask on?
How could I forget? How
I
could I
mean,
forget?
look, and he's performative. He
Yeah.
comes from a long family of performative jackhats, right?
All
Like,
this is all
uh,
this is performative.
it,
Marjorie
but
Taylor
And
Greene, Boebert, they're all performative. And
nah,
oh
I'm
yeah.
not so sure with those two. I mean,
Oh
I
my
think there's some
God.
genuine brain fuckage in those two.
Okay. Well, I
I
see a
think
lot of
Matt Gaetz knows precisely what he's doing at all times, including with Nestor and
okay.
everybody else.
Okay. Okay. So now we're gonna move right along to
Nestor.
uh so wait, so let's let's go let's go let's go back to Stuart Rhodes for a minute
Okay.
because
you'll shoot your
because
eye out. Oh, he did. Never mind.
oh, stop it. Because I do think that now that we've had the Stuart Rhodes conviction, could it be time to actually convict the people who actually plotted the insurrection and financed the insurrection and probe forensically where that $250 million that came to Trump from the big grift and the big lie? I think now would be the time to see that type of roll up. Would Stuart
Well,
Rhodes have anything to have offered?
Stuart
in
Rhodes
the
needs to
spirit of
offer
that
up.
question,
This is
hold
my
on. I have a
sorry.
thing. Okay, fine. You take it. Go ahead.
Stuart Rhodes needs to offer up Mike Flynn and Eric Prince.
Mhm,
That's who he
Ooh,
needs to fucking
yes.
offer up
mhm.
Yes.
because we have on video his very nice son, Stuart Rhodes' son, saying
Mhm.
if the insurrection had succeeded, the two people who would be in charge afterwards would be Mike Flynn and Eric Prince because
On
they're the two who fucking planned it, who who set up all the ops and the controlled opposition and the propaganda. They are the psyops uh, people in this, and Mike Flynn is the general who did it.
our friend, that
That
was
is
on
what
our
I have
friend
to
Audio
say.
Magnet. Yeah, that
We
was on
need
our
to,
friend Audio Magnet show.
we need to hear fucking uh, uh, Mike Flynn and Eric Prince and Steve Bannon and Roger Stone getting rolled up. That's what we
I
need to hear.
absolutely for this
No,
country.
Peter,
no, no,
Peter,
no, no.
Peter. One last thing. Peter Thiel is the extended goal, right? Like if we
Oh no.
raise more than we got, then we go for Peter Thiel.
I'm not stopping at Teal. No. We
No,
need
of course
Well,
not. But,
Nestor and
that,
Abramovich.
that
but
takes
there's
you to
And
Russia. That takes you to the next
that takes you
level.
outside the boundaries. I just
Yeah.
want the motherfuckers here. I want the
no, I'm
traitors
taking the
gone.
whole world. Fuck that.
Okay,
All right.
okay.
High five against the world.
That's right.
Hi-Fi. Can we just talk a little bit about Project Veritas for a moment? Because as I was
You have the shirt.
listening,
Hell yeah, I got this shirt.
as I was listening to the American PSYOP, podcast, I was thinking, and then I started researching the Project Veritas infiltration of left-wing groups. And I think
Right.
that it's just very important to continually point out that in an information war, there are no rear areas. We are all, potentially targets and under the influence of psyops. And it's very important to realize that these types of active measures are inexpensive. So where it costs a lot to build a tank or a missile, it costs very little to pay some, loser $5,000 to go destroy somebody's life. And as somebody who has been the target of such operations, I know how inexpensive it is to destroy somebody's life. So when we talk about Eric Prince, when we talk about Project Veritas and all the harms that there's evidence that allegedly have been committed through his various tentacles, I would like to see if America is still a country of rule of law by seeing some of these guys get indicted, convicted, and imprisoned for all the harms that they have caused people. That is my last and final TED Talk of the episode. Thank you very much.
We have
my time. Ready? I would like to tell Heidi something that's even cheaper than hiring these trolls to run their little LARPs on social media and in real life in front of the cameras and the independent journalists. It's even cheaper to get in good with them and find out what they really are. And so far, I've done that successfully twice. So that's fun.
Wow, HiFi. Like, I feel like I just watched an episode of, what was
that? Was mysterious,
Get Smart.
bro.
That was like an episode of Get Smart. Do you have like a shoe phone too? Like,
I'm actually barefoot right now.
Oh my God.
What?
I don't know. Suddenly I wanted evidence, but I don't want to see your foot.
I told you.
Let's not do feet. That's not. We're not. we haven't. We're
not that kind of show. We're not that kind of show.
Not yet. Times might get tough, Heidi.
Oh, hey, hit the thumbs up. Elevate the pod. Apparently, we have a pod. Oh, the red pod.
Just know that if I ever have, if anybody ever has to see my toes, if anybody has to see my toes in case of an emergency, they were always done. Just FYI. And right now they're hot pink with red sparkles.
Yeah, my mom always said the same thing about underwear, and made me not want to wear them. Like you're gonna get. What if you get in an accident and what are the ambulance people gonna think?
He was
right. I don't give a shit. I just got in a car accident and I'm in the hospital. I don't care.
You don't care.
Mine need cut. And I still have stain from doing the floors in my house.
Okay, well, we're going to stop talking about feet, and we are going to move on.
That was weird. How did we end up on that?
We are going to move on to Peter Tatchell.
You mentioned that you have bare feet because you're weird.
No, because Heidi asked me if I had a shoe phone.
Okay.
I said, no, I'm not.
And instead, we found out you have a foot fetish.
And even though we're live, we're going to cut all this in post, LOL. Okay, so seriously, gentlemen, we had somebody who has been spending 55 years defending human rights. He has been responsible for organizing and participating in 3,000 worldwide protests. He was arrested 100 times, and he has been assaulted 300 times in countries such as Moscow. He also was recently arrested in Qatar. Mugabe's men beat him unconsciously live on television, which made him go from being the most hated man, for the work that he did, to being the most beloved, because people finally got why Peter is willing to take punches on behalf of human rights. And he's essentially been a gay activist this entire time. And his story's phenomenal. So I'm going to encourage you to please watch episode 51. The interview, he drops so much knowledge, it's incredible. And then I'm going to encourage you, after you watch episode 51 of Rad Pod, to please, on Netflix, if you have access to it, watch the documentary about his life hating Peter Tatchell, produced by Sir Elton John and David Furnish. And Ian McKellen, the great Shakespearean actor, interviews Peter in this film. And it is just like anybody who's concerned or worried about sticking their neck out on the side of democracy, I think you'll be emboldened and heartened to know that it's doable and it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I got nothing after that. Yeah, Peter's awesome. He's a fucking warrior, and you know, he's been doing it for 55 fucking years. This is a long time to do that. So,
And
know.
since the time he started, about 4 dozen countries have created or repealed anti-gay laws or put laws on the books in defense of human rights for gay people. And I think it's really beautiful. There's still 72 countries, I think, to go, but 3 of them in the Caribbean are about to create, paths for human rights. And it's just so beautiful. The story is just incredible. My favorite, there's so many favorite parts, but when he was 11 years old, he found out about the bombing of a church in Birmingham, Alabama, where 4 young girls lost their lives because of white supremacist hate. And at 11, that's what sparked the desire in him to fight for human rights. And he started to, and by the time he was like 15, he was already making change. So, it's an incredible story.
And has collected a vast array of haters, which is why there's an entire movie called Hating Peter Tatchell.
Yeah.
He has collected a lot of detractors along the way. So fair warning. But he's a beautiful speaker and has done an enormous amount of good in the world. So it was great having him on the show.
I actually went looking for Peter Tatchell haters and like immediately found that it was not hard to find.
No, you just go to any of his videos or anything. It's like
anything, and it's just like haters. Oh, he followed me on TikTok too, which is absolutely fucking awesome. Like,
oh no, I'm so worried.
Oh dear God!
What did you do?
He's. I think he's amused. I think he's entertained. I don't know. He only said hey in DMs, and it's like, hey, cool.
Okay, all right, okay.
Okay. Oh dear God.
I know.
What?
I'm terrified. Oh, what do you mean? What? HiFi.
It's just a character I play on TikTok. It's fun.
Yeah, I know. HiFi's been banned from LinkedIn 4 times. He's been banned from Twitter 20 times. How soon before TikTok, or is TikTok actually enjoying your activism?
No, actually, TikTok's going to take a while because I figured out the system that TikTok uses, and I'm actually dispersing my posts across 3 different accounts. So even if they get one post banned from one account, the other 2 accounts are still going. And then after a certain amount of time, like the violations slip off your account. So have fun trying to get me, trolls. Woohoo! Distributed posting, basically. Scaling out. It's information warfare on social media. It's a blast.
I know. So one thing that I want to just talk about that Jim was talking about earlier that I found fascinating is that you can draw a pretty simple diagram from Russian cash to early founders of various platforms, how they then fanned out to form other platforms, and how truly weaponized our information is, both against us and cognitively trying to hack our brains, and also what is known about us. It's
well, can we talk for a second about on that point, Stuart Rhodes came from the Liberty Movement and the Ron Paul.
Oh my God! Wow.
Who knew? What do we know about Ron Paul and his son Rand? Right, they're from Kentucky. First of all,
yeah.
So strike 1. Strike 2. They are the most blatant fucking Putin assets, on the planet. It's not a coincidence that a lot of these propagandists came out of that same movement. Like Tracy Diaz came out of that same movement. Tracy Diaz has been there all along. If you don't know, Tracy Diaz is a Mike Flynn propagandist known as Tracy Beans, who helped start QAnon for the first 6 months or so before she got kind of marginalized and went and did her own thing and worked for Mike Flynn in other ways. But she came out of, she was literally a Ron Paul staffer, was in the Liberty Movement, was in all of that shit in 2012, 2013. That's also around when Putin was infiltrating Anonymous on the web, online, and that whole thing. So
wow,
there was a lot of kind of infiltration there. I think that really helped get a lot of this stuff rolling. If you want to trace it back to maybe the most important point, it's Occupy. It's 2010.
Yes.
2010 till now is a straight line of active measures that have got us to the point where there's a quarter trillionaire who has the goddamn space program. By the way, a space program he has because of Vladimir Putin, because of Dana Rohrabacher. Vladimir Putin's congressman. That's why Elmo has fucking rockets, is because Dana Rohrabacher allowed that to happen. Had to David Troy.
So it's very, very, very important as we talk about all this stuff, because it is overwhelming to even me, who's made it like my life's work in the last 6 years. But it is so important that we emotionally arm ourselves against the 4 Ds. I write about this periodically.
Ooh, we've got
the internet has ruined us.
Well, no. This is parasitizing. Parasitizing is a Soviet era active measure where you're walking along reading a regular article and boom, there is the information or disinformation bomb right in the middle of it, and that's how it works. And so it's very confusing, because at first you're like, oh, this is useful information, and then all of a sudden you mentally step on a landmine and the disinformation explodes out, and that's the whole point of it. And the Kremlin's been doing this for a long time. And we talk about World War I, where we were throwing flyers down. It's not like this stuff is new, but the techniques and the delivery is new. But the 4 Ds are dismiss, distort, distract, and dismay. And this is written about. I had a thread where stopfake.org, and one of the co-founders wrote a whole thing and studied Soviet era propaganda. But we are so being encouraged to be dismissive of reality. We are continually confronting distortions. For example, if you have a morning show and they have a beautifully, lighted, Mike Pence, and they are going to ask all these softball questions and distort the reality, the facts of who he was, who he served, what he did, and what he's telling now, right? So the distractions, we talk about that all the time, and then the dismay, and I add the 5th hidden D of despair. All of that, when you're sucked into that vortex, becomes very despairing. But if you're aware of it, if you're like, oh, this is disinformation, or this is a distortion, this is a distraction, then you can be like, okay, and mentally arm yourself as you go into media places or social media platforms. As Jim said, they become vital parts of our life. So hopefully at some point we'll get serious, and some of these companies will become like a public utility. But I just want people to know we're getting into the holidays. The holidays were a time when I despaired organically, just because often as a kid I would kind of go through various trauma. So you can fight this stuff, but being aware of it, I think, is where it starts.
I mean, there's a few ideas that I think one of the things I want to do is start collecting some of these ideas that can be instructive. One of them that I came across recently was in Madhow's Ultra. She was talking about Nazi propaganda and how the literal instructions to the Nazi that was compromising all of the senators and stuff. Shit, fuck! I lost my train of thought.
Oh, you're talking about Ultra, Maddow,
Yeah.
Nazi propaganda.
Yes. So pick it up. I have to find my brain again because I got distracted.
Well, so what this German agent was doing is he was using the power of the senators. It's called Frank's mail, in which the American taxpayer pays for speeches, envelopes, whatever, to be sent to people on behalf of the senators, and he was using it to literally send out Nazi propaganda to people. I mean, now they do it online.
Yeah,
but
I was talking about the 4Ds, Jim, and so you were saying what you want to do is actually enhance and collect stories that can help illuminate that.
Yes.
I didn't know
Never
where you were
mind.
going.
Let's move along.
Well, yeah.
I had a point in there somewhere, and then I got distracted, and it's now not
Was
worth.
it me playing with my mini scrunchies that I'm obsessed with, my little tiny velour ones that I wear around my finger like a lucky ring? Like I can't be without my mini scrunchies. Like I know I have a lot of little obsessive qualities, but this one is like, this is my mini scrunchie, and I was fiddling with it, and I hope I didn't distract you.
No, it was not you. It was
Oh,
not
it
you
was
who
family.
distracted me.
Okay.
What did I do?
No,
I didn't do
it was
anything.
in his
No, it
house.
wasn't you either.
Okay, cool.
It was off-screen boogie people.
Children, probably. So one of the things, and again, I'm enjoying very much just writing and the support that I'm getting from people, because this is what I'm doing right now. I'm doing this full time, so I appreciate everybody's love and support. But I do think that one of the ways that I combat this stuff is by starting my day every day with gratitude. And so I started my new gratitude list, which is something I've done for a few years. Every day I give something that I'm grateful for. And today, what I was grateful for was Zarina Zabriskie. Love her so much. So I start with gratitude, thinking of all the things I'm grateful for before I pick up my phone, before my feet touch the ground. So I'm already lighter of heart before I kind of go into the war. And then also just not being afraid of truth. I can't say this over and over again. Like, if you're lucky enough to not have your mind hacked by these monsters, that means you can be of service to your family, to your coworkers, to your friends. You might not be able to change their point of view, but you can listen to them and be kind. And then when there's an opening, you can offer some information. A few words here or there delivered calmly and kindly will plant a seed. So when they're ready to come back from the invasion of the body snatchers, they've got something to use. So
yeah,
we are.
I remembered.
Oh, good.
It's the idea of the Nazis wanted the agents to find kernels of dissent, right?
Wow.
And I thought it was really important, and they emphasized it quite a bit
Wow.
it was interesting to hear about and German. But it was the idea of just finding anything you can in American society. And there were lots of paid Nazis that did this, including this one guy who managed to, collect a whole bunch of Congress people and senators, like a shocking, like dozens of them, to do this stuff. And his whole purpose was find these kernels of dissent, like the one senator, and then build from there.
Okay.
Right. And so don't be part of of that process of how that works. Because if you, speaking of Dana Rohrabacher, I was thinking about that 2016 conversation where McCarthy and Paul Ryan blow off the fact that they both know that that Trump and Rohrabacher are Russian assets, right? McCarthy and Paul Ryan, and they just blow it off, right? That's a kernel of dissent to the extent that they know that there are traitors in their midst. And I don't think at that moment that McCarthy and Ryan were the traitors they are now, right? But at that moment where they just not only let it go, but said, that stays in the family.
Yeah.
Those are the moments, those are the cracks in the armor that people try to find.
Right.
Don't be a crack in the armor. That's what I'm saying.
I love that. Do you remember when
kernel of dissent?
I mean,
be the right
whiteboard. These are kernels of dissent right here. Like I did this whiteboard last year. This is what they're attacking, right?
Well, so I know the show is up, and yes, your whiteboards were amazing. But you do remember back in 2014 when Russia sent scouts to America. They sent a pair of spies to America to go find our vulnerabilities. And they came back with racism, misogyny. They came back with their list. And then Russia, thanks to Paul Manafort, offering to make himself whole by giving up the voter rolls data, they knew where to target. And so that is our war. And again, I don't think we're going to necessarily stop when we get a few of these guys indicted. I want to go back and I want to prove the 2016 election was the biggest, attack on America, really of a scale in history. So
and we will never be able to sort history out until that gets baked into the history books.
All right.
That was a fucking crime, a major crime. And again, I'm going to say it once again because we're near the end of the episode. Arrest Mike Flynn.
Yes.
He shows up everywhere. He's a Forrest Gump of treason.
We can't do any better than that. Forrest Gump of treason.
There's Christian treason and there's yoga treason.
Yes. Woo treason.
And there's digital soldier treason. And there's trolling treason.
QAnon
treason.
Oh my God.
Got the Nasara and the Gesara treason.
And selling nuclear secrets to the UAE.
Okay. Treason screams, everybody.
Mar-a-Lago treason.
Treason screams.
Petula Gulen treason.
All right.
The fucking forest.
We out.
Of treason. Holy.
We will see you guys. We'll be dropping our next episode on Monday. Support our Patreon if you can. We appreciate all of your kind letters and emails to us to keep going. It means a lot.
Means a lot.
Onward and upward.